Hey everybody, welcome to MCAT Radio. I'm Scott.
And I'm Neil.
This is our partnership show with the KUFM, KFGM. Sorry.
Yeah, different radio station.
This isn't NPR, but anyways, MTP.
Get the police here. You broke the law.
No, that's not how it works. No, do not call the police. This is not Neil, stop doing false alarms. People might be driving and be like, what are they talking about? You got to be very careful.
You broke the rules.
You broke the rules.
You broke the rule. Everyone's going to be mad.
Pretty much, yeah. If someone call the FCC right now. But yeah, anyways, some news happening over the weekend and whatnot. You wanted to mention the fire that happened near the junkyard?
Yes, Axman Recycling. There was a structure fire there is what I saw.
Wow.
Black smoke plumage. I'm sure many of our listeners and viewers saw it the other day.
Yeah, and not to mention, over the weekend, just, nonstop of rain. Just consistent rain throughout the weekend. Even wet this morning, and chances are that there's still rain going on. So I don't know, some of the areas, I'm definitely worried about the Orchard Homes, Tower Street, River Road kind of areas, because those tend to be the ones that flood the most in these kind of things. And it kind of feels like it's like a perfect storm of heat, rain,
it's humid,
and humidity and all that stuff. And the river's so high.
Yeah.
The drainage ditch I live next to is very high. I would have to say it's 95% full, just how high it is, and it's kind of touching. I wouldn't say it's touching the very tip top of it, but there's definitely a good 4 to 6 inches from the very kind of top of the barrier structure before it actually hits the berm.
Yeah, a week ago I was out at my dad's place where we're shooting next week.
Yes.
A movie, not a gun.
Yep. It is Montana after all.
Yep. And he was showing me the runoff from the water from up the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll dry out this week and we'll be able to not have to deal with a lot of that rain issues next week.
Very, very selfishly for my movie, I'm hoping we don't get rain next week.
No, not at all. You want to keep it dry, and then if we do want to have that simulation,
I don't want to have to weatherproof a camera.
I know it is a pain in the butt, and we're primarily filming outside, so it's going to be a very interesting kind of deal if we have to deal with a washed out set in the first days moving forward. But the weather has just been really cold. I got to turn the heat on again.
Yeah, I know. We just brought out our AC.
I know. It's come on, weather, figure it out already. And this is probably one of the more swings wildly in terms of temperature and rains and all that stuff. Last week, just after that thunderstorm, the humidity just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And of course, people who grew up in places with humidity are probably laughing at us, being like, it's not that big a deal. And the same thing can be said about eastern Montanans, where it's cold in Missoula, and just well, wait till you come to Glasgow, Montana.
Where it's nothing but wind.
They're not protected by any mountains, so they are just permanently exposed to the northern winds.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really cool, and here's a suggestion, if you like listening about geography and all that stuff, Real Life Lore is a great YouTube channel that I always love to listen to, because they tend to talk about how the way that the United States is structured, all based on geological locations with nature and everything like that. And when we start looking west of the Mississippi, you start seeing a lot more drier prairie lands where they have less development.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong, the Dust Bowl was a big part of the journey west, even further to California, to those establishments, just because that's where the work and the jobs and the opportunities were at the time.
Yep, in old California.
Yeah, and then, one thing that I always like listening for is, probably the good one to learn about is the geography of India. And how the Himalayas protect them from their northern winds, in which they have such great crop and yields, pretty much year-round, to be able to feed those billions of people that they have in India.
Yes.
So there's something to really think about. Real Life Lore on YouTube. Definitely one of my favorite YouTube channels going on right now. You learn a lot about different places.
Yes.
All right, so... I also wanted to kind of throw it over to this next clip for you guys. This is MCAT released an AI data center panel from the week of May 19th. It was a May 19th meeting. This is about bringing experts from many different organizations. I did have some notes on this, but for the most part, this is a nice little introduction into the next, the big AI data center fight from the Bonner perspective, in terms of how the county is going to host this meeting on July 1st, which is the first Wednesday of that month at 6 p.m. for the Consolidated Planning Board. And so this all has to do with the fact that they are building this AI data center near the Bonner School, which is why they have to have the special permission done on this July 1st meeting. Otherwise, if it wasn't an issue, they'd be doing it anyways. And so here is a little bit of information. This is from the panel discussion that they had. This is all available on our YouTube page at MCAT TV Missoula. And here is a little taste.
Generation of nuclear is going to save us. It's great. This is wonderful. It's a whole new technology, and it has no waste, and they don't even use uranium, and they're all small and they're modular, and we can like plug and play. None of that is true. They still use uranium. They still need fuel. They still have waste. That waste still has to be stored on site forever, and nobody's going to have one small little reactor someplace. They are going to plug and play 10 or 20 of these reactors together to form a big reactor. And then it's going to be stuck in our community serving a data center. And what Northwestern wants, it wants nuclear, and it just got a peaker plant. And no, the things circled in red there are not the things that Northwestern wants just because Northwestern wants them. It's the things Northwestern wants because they are the most expensive energy resources on the system. And the more money the utility spends on acquiring a new power plant, the more money we have to pay it over time. So its investors, its shareholders want them to spend money because then they can charge us more. That's how they make money. So the idea of building a nuclear or a gas peaking plant, the most expensive generation resources in the system today, according to the gold standard for analyzing the cost of energy from various generation sources, it says that the two things Northwestern wants the most are the most expensive things to provide power. There are so many cheaper ways to do it. We should insist the utility looks at those.
All right, so there's a little taste of that. And you kind of get the idea of what they're going for. And I just brought up my notes right here. And this was, let's see, where did I put her at? This was Ann Hedges from MEIC, which is a coalition of the Montana Environmental Information Center. And, she was mentioning all this kind of information and whatnot. And she also spoke about the impact to Texas communities that have embraced AI data centers with a 79% increase in their electricity bill.
79%.
Yes. In Montana, Northwest Energy saw the increase to 17% just last January compared to past bills, which saw about $10 to $20 more. You could probably look at your power bill and kind of attest to it's probably not more $10 or $20 more dollars overall. But
I don't like looking at my power bill.
So the idea of this one is that Northwest Energy has nothing but incentives to build AI data centers because AI requires power. So then they're just like, oh, we can invest in this kind of stuff so we can spend more money on this stuff. And so they actually released some study on this as well. And this is like all the information you would ever kind of need about the power generations, all these kinds of different viewpoints from left and right. And I also needed to mention this as well, is that the cap of what Bonner is asking for is 29 megawatts.
Okay.
And allegedly, let's see, where did I make that note? So what do you think about it? I'm going to look this up as well, but yeah, what do you think about a lot of this information that's coming out and like the amount of energy used and like there's more incentives for Northwestern Energy to embrace AI because it's more.
We've been seeing that across the country of public utilities like power specifically cutting deals with AI data centers where some of that burden of price is off-put to the consumer.
Yep.
To the everyday consumer, and that's something I certainly would not like to see around here.
Exactly, and so Cranboo out of Bonner plans to use 50,000 gallons of water a month, which demands of the 50 megawatts of power. But there's a plan and the ability to scale up as high as 29 megawatts. So effectively, you're increasing that by 6 times. And then if they want to build out the further infrastructure, that is like they'd have to go beyond 29, which is the cap at this point based on the current infrastructure of Bonner. And so there's a lot of interesting things in terms of this. And the Montana State Legislature has basically made it easier and easier for these things to kind of pop up. And so the state had put up Bitcoin and data centers on the lowest category of taxes, which also included AI data centers, at 0.9% of taxes. So they used to have to pay 6% in taxes, and now they got it reduced to 0.9%.
Whoa.
And that was in 2017, mind you.
Wow.
And so since then, 2023 legislature extended those to crypto, and 2025, the inevitability of AI data centers.
0.9%? That's almost nothing.
So yeah, I mean, Montana is like the best place for AI data centers to like pop up. Like I know that Great Falls there was a story on Montana Free Press recently that also mentioned that Great Falls openly embraced AI data centers with the in lieu of like the first 5 years, they're only going to have to pay 50% of the taxes as part of the deal to get this AI thing going and streamlined.
Right.
So the community of Great Falls just decided to move that forward with that one. So 50% of the taxes that are already in place, which is 9.9%. So it's now they're paying 0.45% on taxes.
Yeah.
So they already got tax breaks, and then the community also gave them tax breaks.
Wow.
So there's a lot of appetite for AI, and not so much amongst the people as opposed to, who knows? I don't know. That's the thing is like I'm not completely entirely sure what AI actually does to benefit anybody on our level.
Right, on the general consumer level. I mean, like there's, people use it for emails and stuff, but, it's, as the technology's been around, I think it's struggled to find its niche.
Yeah. And not to mention, everyone's so focused on AI data centers when there's so many other data centers that are causing so much usage, like Google, the top dog when it comes to data centers across the board, because they also hold YouTube videos and all that stuff. So they need the data center for all this stuff. So every time we upload a video to YouTube, we're also indirectly contributing to the demands of data centers. And so they published their self-report in 2023 that they use about 6 billion gallons a year, which checks out to be 180,000 households worth of use.
Wow.
But that wasn't because of the goodness of their heart. Actually, an Oregon journalist through the Oregonian had this scoop in 2021, and Google self-reported to stay ahead of it, on top of getting Portland to actually sue the Oregonian to prevent this from happening. There was a lawsuit that happened back in the day in 2021 about this. It's kind of crazy to think about. It's like just information about usage and their stuff is like, well, what do they got to hide? It's like always kind of like those kind of things. And I hate to do the whole like tinfoil hat thing, but it is kind of interesting to see these kind of numbers out there as well.
I'll do the tinfoil hat thing for a second. Did you know that Google used to have in their mission statement, "Don't be evil"?
Yes, I know this whole thing. And now what is it now?
That one.
And now the other one?
And they took it out.
And they updated it to?
I don't even know what they updated it to.
From what I heard, it was "Be less evil."
Did they really?
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the tinfoil hat moment right now. This tinfoil hat
Be less evil.
This tinfoil hat was sponsored by our own brains. But you're out. Yeah, you're listening to 101.5 KFGM. Do you want to do some underwriting?
Yeah, I'll read out an underwriting thing.
Yeah, here's a whole stack.
Google,
right.
Be less evil. KFGM is brought to you in part by Logjam Presents and Kettle House Amphitheater near Missoula. Upcoming events include Lord Huron from June 6th to 7th, The Dead South, June 13th, Ziggy Marley, June 28th, The Avett Brothers with Shane Smith and the Saints, June 19th, and many more. For the full lineup and ticket information, available online at logjampresents.com.
And you can always find out more information about the radio station by going on to 101.5kfgm.org, MissoulaCommunityRadio.org, and many other domains where you can just Google Missoula Community Radio, and you can find this site and learn everything you need to know about our areas and everything that's happening in between. And also go to MCAT.org to learn more about MCAT.
KFGM programming is supported in part by Ear Candy Music. For over a quarter century, Ear Candy Music has been serving vinyl, CDs, cassettes, stereo equipment, collectibles, and more across all genres and tastes. They also purchase vinyl collections. Ear Candy Music can be reached at 406-542-5029. That's 406-542-5029. And you can visit them on the Hip Strip at 624 South Higgins in Missoula.
Yep. And I also wanted to mention that we have another clip we want to show you guys, and this is for the West Side Theater. They did a telethon for tomorrow. And a big part of that has to do with, here's the synopsis from there as well. This is celebrating 25 years of early education with Spaghetti Western Variety Show, live auction and telethon at the West Side Theater in Missoula, Montana. So this is to promote Missoula Community School, a nonprofit project-based learning preschool, and to continue what they're doing. And so here is a clip from their concert.
Who do you think you are? Bless your soul. You really think you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy. Does that make me crazy? I think we're crazy. Possibly. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. You're crazy. Just like me.
Wow, it's really not that often you meet a lady with a voice that sweet and a heart that broken. No wonder she's a mite off, poor thing. Let's give it up one more time, Miss Delta Dawn. Now, y'all better put your boots on, 'cause these next two rabble-rousing loogie launchers are known for their quick gunslinging. Texas Red here ain't got no love of the ways of civilized men. You can find him following the money, no matter what he's got to do to go and get it. Suppose he's handsome, after a way. If you're into bad boys. But he's got a sneer that'll chill you to the bone, have you reaching for your gun handle. But I would not advise that. I hear he is cold-blooded and fast. Real fast. That's right. And his opposite is satin to buckskin. Our next spitter ain't got nothing in common with Texas. Rick Rapid is a ranger by way of Arizona. I hear tell he's up in Bitterboot looking for one outlaw in particular. This town is full of them, so who knows who he's after. You know, the ladies really love this guy, and I gotta say, the fellas, oh boy, they find him approachable and as warm as a sunny day. He's an absolute crooner with zero tolerance for law breaking. That's right. So y'all place your bets on the buckaroo you'd like to see ride off into the sunset with Mr. Burgess's gold nugget. But the Spittoon prize is not the only thing these guys got their eye on. Miss Buttercup Beaumont has captured these boys' imagination since the moment she stepped off the train in Bitterboot.
Miss Buttercup, I must make your acquaintance. On my travels, I've seen vials of gold and gray waving in the sunny breeze. High mountain meadows bursting with clouds, fresh white snow, vast starry skies sparkling with mysteries of life itself. Yet, I've never seen beauty like this.
Oh, darling, I'm sure
challenge you to that old classic. We'll see whose floor's wiped when it's done. My little buttercup has the sweetest smile. Dear little buttercup, won't you stay
All of a
a
sudden.
while? Come with me where moonbeams paint the sky. And you and I might linger in the sweet by and by. Oh, dear little buttercup, with your eyes so blue. Oh, little buttercup, your dream come true. Come with me, settle down in a cottage built for two. Oh, dear little buttercup, I love you. Everybody!
All right, so there's a little taste for you guys. Sorry, that went a little long, but I wanted to get to the a little bit of that fun little song that was playing.
Yeah. Well, you know, they keep saying Texas Red, who's the, of course, villain in the classic gunfighter ballad, Big Iron.
Big Iron, yeah.
Yeah, by Marty Roberts, I
Yeah,
believe.
and you know, a lot of the people that I saw in that video also has had some ties with the Virginia City players. So
Oh,
if
that
you-
makes sense.
So if you know any kind of like thing, because that's a big part of Montana culture, and you know, Virginia City has seen some kind of like downtrodden days a little bit more, you know, as a advent of the pandemic and whatnot. I haven't heard too many things about it, and I heard that they had some issues with trying to continue the Virginia City players. So
Yeah, I believe the Department of Commerce posted a job position about Virginia City.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And just so you guys know, listening at home, Virginia City is essentially the one of the few places in Montana that could have been our state capital.
yes.
Yep.
And they've kept it very much in the style of an old western town.
Yep.
In fact, Scott, we should go make a movie there.
Yeah, that'd be
We'll call
fun.
it The Old Western Town.
Yeah, I mean seriously, like we Virginia City, you know, and then there's always the idea of going to Garnet Ghost Town.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Garnet Ghost Town is like
I
the
mean, hey, we've shot out there before.
yeah, it's the kind of like the premier place. We did a couple like concept shoots for your show that you wanted to help launch, and maybe it's never too late to have those kind of things later on
Yeah.
down the line to kind of incorporate, because you never know.
Yeah. Let's see. They're hiring a film office multimedia coordinator, visitor service associate
Okay,
for Virginia City.
nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that it is definitely one of those kind of like summer gigs
Yeah.
for sure when it comes to those kind of like Virginia City tourism kind of
I mean, it's a
emphasize.
cool little town.
It is a beautiful little place, and they have saloons. They got even Nickelodeons where you can look at little
Yeah,
old movies and
yes,
whatnot. So
yes.
I don't know if they still have that, but because it's been like it's been a decade, if not longer, since I've actually been there for that whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on. I also wanted to also promote some of the programs that we do here at MCAT. Before I show the clip, this is from Dread. We just wrapped up the first season, effectively, of the first session of our MQuest playthroughs.
Yeah, I mean, I'd call it a season.
Yeah, and so this was a 4-episode deal. It's all on our YouTube page now. We just dropped our last episode on Friday last week. We utilized the staff here at the Missoula Public Library, including Elizabeth Jonkel, who narrated the Dread. And so
Yes.
if you don't know what Dread is, think about it as D&D, but instead of rolling the dice, you're playing Jenga.
Yes, yes. I think you mean Timber Tower, not sponsored, Jenga.
Don't actually. it is what it is. That is exactly how they do it.
Yeah.
And they pull for initiative, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You pull for everything.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
before we show the clip, I also wanted to mention that I have a really good idea for our own Dread episode, because I know that on your birthday, happy birthday, belated.
Woo,
this
27!
Yeah, but this was like weeks and weeks ago, is that your sister, your older sister, was talking about being on an MQuest Dread episode. She really wanted to do it, and then I asked my sister if she wanted to do it, because we both follow the same rule of 2 older sisters, and we're the baby brother.
Yep.
And so what I had in mind is that me, my sister, you and your sister would do our own version of Dread, and I actually even tapped Molly to be the narrator for this one in this case, and it would be tailor-made towards little brothers and our eldest sister, and then just not mentioning the middle child whatsoever as a joke. I was like, who? Never heard of her.
Middle child.
Yeah. And so I think that would be a good premise to start off of, and I think it would be good dynamic to have our real-life sisters and us on the video. And my sister already agreed to do it. We just need to find a good scheduled date for everyone to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
All right, well, here's our clip.
You have followed Jan, and you have 2, so
Yeah, I kind of knocked Maria out of the way, and then I guess I'm still kind of taking that in, but I'm trying to keep one eye over on to see what Maria's doing, because
okay.
I don't want.
So you're kind of standing in between,
Yeah.
like the door
Yeah.
and the hall, where the hall used to be,
And-
and the balcony.
Yeah.
So you're kind of right there.
Kind of keeping an eye on as these guys move forward, I guess.
And what are you doing, Malcolm?
I rush forward and I try to pull John away from the scene.
So you're gonna go and you're gonna move forward and try to touch John.
Yeah, try
And
to
what are
pull
you
him away
doing,
from
Jan?
Elizabeth.
Oh, I
John
thought,
is not a people person, so he's going to go grab the book instead.
I thought you were
Okay.
trying to hold me
And
back.
what are you doing, Diane?
I guess nobody's holding me back.
I'm not calling you back. But
Yeah, I was calling you,
I
but
don't know. I know John a lot better than I know you.
I'm your mother.
I thought that was a metaphor.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very confusing.
So what are you doing, Diane?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm sort of going towards, you know what, Elizabeth?
So you're trying to, okay.
Yeah, sure. Elizabeth?
All right, so this is all kind of happening at once?
okay.
All right, so we'll start with you. As you try to go over to try to touch John, right? As you get closer, you can feel this kind of like heat and power that's kind of like emanating out of this book, which seems to just kind of be like floating in the air, right? Doesn't seem to be anything that's holding it up. As you go over to touch John, what do you do?
John, there's lightning, tornadoes, and you're right. Elizabeth, she's not right. Let's get out of here. Come on. And I just kind of like try and grab him by his arm and pull him away from her.
Okay, I'd like you to pull then, please.
All right, just one.
Yeah, I'll have you pull one. You're just trying to move him, right?
I think maybe Elizabeth is right.
Like the stars.
Yeah. Aren't they? I think it's. You remember how Joshua said that he was fine and it's fine?
Well done.
Maybe it's fine.
So John is unresponsive. He does not like react when you call his name or anything like that, but he is still corporeal.
Okay.
All right, so there's a little taste of that.
Yes, yes.
That's called MQuest Dread, and that was the little tease from the 4th episode. By then, we're pulling all sorts of bricks to determine whether or not they are going to survive their initial choices.
Yep. Let's see. What royalty-free stock music did you use for the dramatic? Blah, blah.
Oh, that was just the dark music that you can download from YouTube. So
Nice.
for those of you looking to find some royalty-free music out there, YouTube has an eclectic library of all sorts of things.
The YouTube audio library.
Yep, and so I basically constructed a bunch of those audio-free royalty stuff for our music library for our editing software. So if you're interested in editing and learning about editing, MCAT's the place to do it. We do Final Cut Pro.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Premiere Pro computers as well. But I downloaded and made a whole sound library that is royalty-free. You don't need to give accreditation, stuff like that. It is a great way to kind of build upon. And that's what we do with a lot of the kids in our Saturday drop-ins, which we do every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. You're listening to 101.5 KFGM. This is MCAT Radio. Do you want to talk about your blended class?
Of course, yes. Tonight, 6 to 8, and Friday, 4 to 6, I will be doing my Blender Open Workshop. If you're interested in learning 3D modeling, animation, texturing, etc., and you haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, come on down. We'll get you started.
KFGM is brought to you in part by MCAT, Missoula's community media resources, offering training and equipment for local media producers for over 30 years. You can visit the website at mcat.org or call us at 542-6228. Betty's Divine. KFGM programming is brought to you by Betty's Divine, Divine Trash Vintage, a locally owned shop with a fondness for both vintage gems and contemporary vintage-inspired clothing, shoes, and accessibility for guys and gals, and gays and theys. Betty's Divine presents a snapshot of Northwest styles with an emphasis on street, skate, surf culture, as well as Americana classics. You can find them at their iconic mannequin, Desmond, or any of his co-workers at the magnificent hip strip in downtown Missoula. Mm-hmm. So what were you thinking when I was reading those, Neil? It was quite the code switch.
I just started, you said the word Americana, and then I just started thinking about the Miracle of America Museum out in Polson.
Yes. And, I'm going to put on my Friends at Fort Missoula hat.
Oh, yes.
And I also wanted to mention that they're doing a community gallery, and they're trying to invite people from the county to bring some of their old historic family heirlooms to be on display at their new thing. They're going to try to put this up for, I believe, for a year or so. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it is the community gallery. And so they're going to be replacing the brick and mortar. They had all those things set up for their first gallery, and now they're going to be updating their new gallery. And so they're looking for input for people to have their items on display temporarily. So there you guys go on that part as well. Let's see. It is halfway through the show. You getting hungry, Neil? Any kind of lunch suggestions for people out there in the world of Missoula?
I'm going to make a sandwich.
You're going to make a sandwich?
Yep. Turkey and Swiss.
Any kind of local businesses or anything you want to kind of highlight or anything like that?
You could always go down to Orange Street Food Farm.
Yeah.
Put together a lunch there, or of course they've got their fried chicken.
Yeah, and Orange Street Food Farm is definitely one of those places that kind of feels like it's kind of like a cool little niche grocery store, which is kind of outside the parameters of most big chain grocery stores.
Orange Street Food Farm is the exact grocery store I'd use if I were to remake The Mist.
Yeah, being a horror movie in a grocery store, it would be perfect for Orange Street. Oh, yeah. I know that Treasure State Studios, they used the old Safeway before it tore down next to the hospital to film their Indiana Jones sequence for Saving for the Day. If you get a chance, Saving for the Day, Treasure State Studios, their premiere movie that they worked on for over a decade.
And then there's there's the Tenets of Nightmaregeddon, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Or Nightmageddon.
Nightmageddon.
That's a short film. Part of it was filmed in Orange Street Food Farm. This isn't going to mean anything to most of our listeners.
Right.
But you know who's in it as kind of like the cosmic alien salesman is Cheyenne.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cheyenne Adamson?
That's right.
No, shout out Cheyenne. He's the actor extraordinaire. He's been a big staple of acting even before a lot of things happening in Missoula with all these things with Storyhouse, Yellowstone, all that stuff. He's basically kind of like a really great actor and kind of a good go-to guy.
Yeah, the Tenets of Nightmageddon. It might be available on YouTube. You want to check that real quick?
Yeah, I can double check that for sure.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention too, if you are on the whole YouTube sphere of looking up videos and stuff like that, there's great avenues for animation, and Glitch is another great example of YouTube videos because this week, Amazing Digital Circus will be airing their final episode in theaters.
Yes. Their final 2 episodes. The episode 8 already came out online, but they took the finale, they put them together, and now it's a feature-length movie that you can watch in theaters.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's all just independent studio, has millions of views. This is one of those things that you release something high quality on YouTube that generates a lot of views, and then you get that kind of backing with Hollywood and whatnot. Living Backrooms was not even going to be picked up by most standard movie productions. A24 came in and were able to distribute it, and now it's one of the highest grossing movies a week after a Star Wars.
Yeah,
a Star Wars movie came out a week ago, and this movie came out a week after, and it's already destroying along with Obsession, with all these A24 horror-esque side movies that are just kind of it's given an appetite to a whole new genre of young film directors
Absolutely.
that we haven't really seen since the days of Spielberg and
Right. Well,
George Lucas.
There was a whole Hollywood revolution right around that time.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten one since.
Yeah, I mean, it was the whole idea was just like everyone was obsessed with like, oh, let's do those big old musical overinflated budgets where.
Don't forget the Western.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of overinflated budget of the time in that era too, because I remember there was a movie called Waterloo, and that was about Napoleon.
Yeah, you love that movie.
I love that movie, and it's free on YouTube. But it was insane that the amount of like extras that they got, because they filmed in Ukraine, and so they got all the extras from Ukraine to actually physically staff the thing. And you also got to give them even more props, because for young ladies out there, especially millennials of my age who like the movies A Knight's Tale, all the audience and extras in that movies were all Ukrainians.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was a couple scenes where, like, if you remember in the jousting scene and when he's doing the hype man, he's doing all this stuff, nobody can understand what he was saying. And then Eddie Addy, or the character who was one of the friends of the character, would course the audience by going like, yeah, and then everyone cheered after that, and they kept that in the movie. And I thought that was a pretty fun little interlude in that. But yeah.
One detail I really like, speaking of like having a bunch of extras, is in Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, there's the scene where Saruman's like speaking out to like the hundreds of thousands of orcs.
Yep.
Right? Or Uruks.
Yep.
And
was it like Urukai?
Urukai,
Yeah.
yes, which literally just means orc folk.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're orcs.
Yeah, but they were supposed to be like the high orcs or whatever. Like they were
yeah.
like made in mud, and then they anyways.
They're mud men.
They're essentially supposed to be the industrial complex.
Yeah. Anyway, so you get them all like chanting and like stomping and doing their weapons, and it's this huge moment. And so that was a problem in filmmaking. They were like, well, we could just like double our voices a lot, but that would sound incredibly obvious. So what they did is they just kind of, Peter Jackson just kind of walked out into a giant sports stadium and went, hey guys, I'm Peter Jackson. Would you help me get some audio for my movie?
Exactly.
And that's what they did. They just had like the Jumbotron where they were just like, okay, now just say the dark speech words here and stomp your feet.
You know what would be a cool thing to do if we ever needed like a crowd and kind of sound and stuff like that in the future? We should try to tap the Grizzly Stadium.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because the Grizzly Stadium, like, it always has records, and people always glaze the University of Montana's football team, especially the north side, with all the crazy loudness and breaking all decibel records. And for any stadium, even at that size, it's even breaking sound standards of most larger stadiums.
Hey guys, I'm making a movie.
Seriously.
Could you do some sound for me?
Could you imagine just being able to do
awesome.
that? And then they would have their own cameos. Like a big part of that, I think that is something that to look into tapping into in a long range future
If I need
plan.
a big crowd sound, I'll do that.
That would be like the ultimate go-to. That would be the ultimate like love letter to Missoula as a whole as well.
If you want to make your own movie,
Exactly.
TV show, PSA, documentary, animation that's a love letter to Missoula, come on down to MCAT.
Yeah, MCAT is a great avenue for a lot of people who wanted to get the first step in television production as a whole, or multimedia type stuff. And it is a great way because we kind of act as a publishing house.
Yes.
So you technically get published even if it's the lowest tier of stuff of you just talking in front of a microphone, kind of like what we're doing right here.
Yeah, it's still on TV.
Exactly. I mean, this is going to air on our late night tonight at around 11:30, and then we'll have our replay on Tuesday at 5:30 on Tuesdays. We try to keep it as untimely as possible so we don't try to be like too time specific, because we talk about a lot of different things.
We do.
And
a lot of this is just us rambling.
Yeah, and speaking of rambling, I want to talk about Backrooms. I saw it last week.
No.
Neil wasn't able to go because he didn't buy tickets beforehand.
Not in time.
Yeah.
And the Roxy sold out.
But yeah, if you have an idea of what it's all about, for me, the best interpretation of the Backrooms is like, imagine a dungeon appears and it's just like a weird kind of like call to adventure. I really like how that, it is a horror movie, don't get me wrong, but the whole theme is kind of like you're trying to like find something out.
Well, a lot of horror movies, it's like something happens and like you have to rise to that challenge.
Exactly.
The Backrooms is like, yeah, go for it
No,
if you
seriously.
want. If not, the monster's not going to come.
And the thing
you.
I like especially about this movie is it piqued curiosity. It's about peak curiosity
You do
because when a
things 'cause
horror
you
movie,
have to know.
exactly, you want to know. You if you were in that position, it's like, what would you do? Would you just ignore it completely, or is there like a liminal space that just appears out of
Yeah.
nowhere?
All right, show of hands. Who's an urban explorer? Basically.
Pretty much. Like I am a big advocate for that movie for sure, and I'm really impressed with the 20-year-old director who, sure, there's controversy online about like, did he really direct the whole thing? It's like, no, it's a team effort. He directed the scenes, and he had his vision in place for those movies.
All movies are collaborative.
Exactly.
I'm sure he brought the vision, and then I'm sure he was coached by more experienced directors.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean he didn't direct it.
Exactly, and not to mention you have legacy actors who are so good at their job
Yes.
that a lot of times the director is like, hey, could you give me a little bit more of this in this instance? And like, yeah, sure, whatever.
So much of directing is just building a team that knows what they're doing.
And all he did is build all these sets in Blender, and he released online videos of just...
Yeah, he did that when he was a teenager.
Yeah, he did it from 16, and that wasn't even that long ago.
Yes.
So yeah, building up a presence on YouTube is harder than ever nowadays, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely like that kind of like tapped in potential with the Backrooms. Iron Lung is a great like.
Oh yeah.
Like I would say Iron Lung is probably like the change of the game because I think they made 100 times their budget.
Yeah.
Because they made it on like $3 million.
Yeah.
So
I think it was $2 million.
yeah. So that having that kind of idea with that small kind of like return on investment is such a great avenue. But he didn't go through the route of A24. He had to also like do it self. Like he had to go to all these other markets just to get his movie out
and
there.
It's finally up on YouTube. You can buy
Is
it
it
on YouTube.
Sweet, that's good. Because it's kind of funny listening because YouTube movies. The best way I describe it is the same as the people who do samples at Costco.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're not owned by Costco, but they're controlled, and they have some kind of like third-party agreement kind of deal. It's been like a long time thing. It's like I'm gonna like totally butcher it, but that's kind of how I interpret how YouTube movies are, is because it's a completely different organization that does it for YouTube. Because YouTube tried to do their own streaming service called YouTube Red, but it didn't work out because it's like, hey, people are uploading for free. All we got to do is just collect ad revenue from this, and we're good to go.
Yeah. I was at Costco and got a sample the other day. It was Kerrygold cheese on a baguette with some balsamic vinegar. It was really good.
And speaking of which, like since we're on the topic, a lady got arrested for giving out like tequila shots at the Costco sampler because they put it in one of those like little ketchup paper cups.
Not at our Costco.
No, not at our Costco. I'm going to make that perfectly clear. A Costco. Because, a lot of, like...
That's really funny.
It is pretty funny. Like, she was just giving away samples of, like, tequila.
There you go.
Yeah, like, it's like... And it's like, how do you prosecute in a way? But, of course, it would probably be more about illegal trespass.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that was a pretty funny story overall.
She wasn't giving it to minors, that's a point in her favor.
Exactly. We do not advocate drinking. And besides, drinking has actually gone way down in culture.
It has.
Just like, we still have the same people that are still doing it. It's just like they're doing it less than now than ever.
Yeah, and, alcohol's expensive.
Yeah, and then, of course, most people online would be like, I don't know, I have to choose between drinking alcohol and rent money, so I'm going to choose, the healthier option. In this economy, anyways.
In this economy, whoa. Way to get political, Sugar Bear.
Pretty much. All right, so we have another organization that we want to promote as well. It's Grow Music Missoula, and so they do these kind of concerts with young kids who are aspiring musicians, and so they did a spring recital for May 2026, and here's a little taste of Can Can, a song performed by the young children. right, so that was a little taste of that Grow Music Missoula, and so they definitely like to use the piano in our studio space to like build upon this as well. So it's nice to have that conveniency of having a piano in the library.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're in our last 15 minutes of our episode. I do have another clip I can show you guys as well. It's students participating in air research and knowledge transition through Spark Symposium of 2026.
Yes, Spark.
Yep, so here's a little taste of that from the youth itself.
The youth.
Spark program provided an excellent foundation for the work that I do now.
Oh, Spark.
In college, there's nobody to keep you accountable besides yourself and your peers. It's very important who you surround yourself with, and it's really important how you take care of yourself, much like an independent research project. So this year, I designed my own social science experiment that will eventually be published, hopefully, in the Johns Hopkins Journal of Undergraduate Research and in other scientific journals at campuses across the country. My study evaluates how welcoming Montana communities are toward youth involvement in politics and civic decision-making. I think it is really important to consider how young people, all of you, and all college-age students as well, are affected by policies relating to every topic, especially when our opinions are often overlooked and overshadowed by more, well, let's say, experienced and mature individuals. Let's say that. I also recently joined a very exciting project at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine that uses trauma-based simulations to study whether AI tools can help physicians and medical students respond more effectively and efficiently during pediatric cardiac arrest instances. I've been offered a co-authorship position on the paper if I follow through this project. However, what I want to teach you today and reflect on today is that growth also comes with challenges. And I want to be honest with you all about something else first, is that getting involved in all of these university level research projects was not at all easy for me. Not at all. It takes work, resilience, and determination paired with the right connections and the right conversations. When I first arrived at JHU, I quickly realized that many of my peers already had really significant research experience. Some had already published papers on ribosomal structure and function, they've started literacy studies in developing countries, they've developed international policy data collection groups. It was really overwhelming to say the least, even if it was really inspiring as well. My only real research experience consisted of this Spark project and another literature review project I did during my senior year. Nothing nationally or even regionally recognized, and obviously I was not a published author either. I still am not yet, but hopefully soon, like I said. During my first semester, I struggled to keep up with all the coursework. I was taking 23 credits, which was the most work I've ever done, and I struggled especially with chemistry. And I had mountains of paperwork, academic reading, revisions, and research writing to complete for my projects on the side. So going from a public school in rural Montana, I'm originally from Helena, to America's first university, first research university in a big city 2,000 miles away from home was a big change of pace, to say the least.
All right, so there's a little taste of that. That was students participating in air research and knowledge transition. So that was kind of like the last clip I had of MCAT's original programming. We're consistently updating new programs every Monday and throughout the week for anybody interested in learning more about Missoula culture from different avenues, and different organizations have tapped MCAT through our Media Assistance Grants Program. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, our Media Assistance Grant Program is available to nonprofit organizations, clubs, church or spiritual groups.
Yep.
What other groups?
Civic engagements. Like, we've done some groups where it was individuals asking us.
Yes,
all they got to do is fill out their paperwork all online at mcat.org.
Yeah, but if you have an event you want recorded or a PSA you want made, fill one out.
Exactly. And or if you just have a lot to say, you can come on down to MCAT and just have your voice recorded, or you can have a video of yourself recorded for future posterity.
Absolutely.
Yep. You just never know. It is a platform that people can utilize.
Yeah. We had one family record a couple episodes of a game show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a few years back now.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty fun. But that's the whole thing, is like you cultivate your creativity, and we'll try to meet you halfway with the technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Any kind of last minute things we need to bring up? I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at Reddit too as well. But if you want to look through Reddit, I can kind of look through some of the stories.
I'll look through Reddit. Yeah. Reddit, the Missoula subreddit, very active. You know, it's a decent way to stay tuned into the community. Of course, because it is social media. Trends towards negativity sometimes.
Always. But at the same time, it's like one of the things that I noticed was that the police officer accident, and they didn't release the story in the news until a couple days after. It was all over Reddit. So Reddit seems to be on top of things, but it's acting more as unfortunately, the gossip column.
Yeah, somebody saw an elk on Mullen Road this morning.
Yes, I saw that as well. Elk aren't as common in Missoula in terms of there's no urban elk.
Out in Florence, my dad gets a ton of elk.
And then we have the elk that graze on Mount Jumbo.
Yep.
And so that's why they close Mount Jumbo at certain times of year.
Stay off Mount Jumbo.
Yeah.
Not right now.
I'm not sure entirely because they kind of moved.
I think they opened it in April.
Yeah, I think mid-April, but they wanted to extend it a little bit longer because they don't want to have people interacting with elk because they want to keep it wild and untouched by man. Because otherwise we're going to have just as much of a problem with the urban deer population.
Yeah.
And the more there are deer in the city of Missoula, we're going to get other animals in the city, bears.
And elk mess you up.
Yeah, they're territorial.
Yeah, they are.
Herbivores, especially big, like megafauna, I guess.
Well, actually, the moose.
The moose.
The
megafauna is the moose.
Is the only surviving megafauna in North America.
Yeah.
And that's because you don't mess with moose.
You never mess with moose. They're huge.
You can mess with a mammoth.
Yeah.
You can't mess with the moose.
Yeah, exactly. They're ornery, territorial. Heck, it's the same thing with buffalo too. Mm-hmm. You can't tame a buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's always that one old show where the guy's riding a buffalo. Remember that show? But yeah, you just never know because either these are wild animals, and cows in general have taken generation upon generations of domestication. Yeah. And when we talk about domestication, we're also talking about raccoons who are on the verge of self-domesticating in our life, potentially in the next 100 years or so.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because they're saying that raccoons are becoming cuter, more accessible, a little bit clever, and they know how to negotiate for their snacks instead of digging in for trash. So they're trying the cute factor like cats. Who on Reddit also did the cat distribution system was in place.
Bear the cat.
Yes, if you see that.
She just wandered into somebody's dorm.
Which, unfortunately when that happens, the university's like, no, you can't have a pet.
Yeah, she has a caller actually that's like, hey, I know my way home, don't keep me.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the cat must have just wandered off a little bit further out and then saw a place to stay warm and
exactly.
dry.
The cat just walked in and went, cool, a couch.
Oh, here's another thing. And since we're on the topic of social media, Missoula Current posted this one through through Sacramento, California, because they're also talking about banning social media for kids 16 and under. So this is Assembly Bill 1709 prohibits social media platforms that use addictive feeds from allowing children under 16 to have accounts. It also creates an e-safety advisory commission under the auspices of the state attorney general. So this past Thursday, 72-0 vote, and now it proceeds to the state senate. So I think, well, with the lawsuits that happened between Meta and Elon and all that stuff, the whole idea is the addictive nature of social media now is on par with cigarette smoke.
Yeah, I keep talking about it. I'm really considering getting a low distraction phone.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that I actually need one that can run the apps that I use here for work.
Exactly. We need the apps to be able to change channel inputs, upload to our YouTubes, and making sure that everything is up to code, especially when it comes to spelling and descriptions of our videos that we post on our YouTube page.
But even so, I've just tried to be on social media a little less, and honestly, it's been great.
It's great, honestly. I mean, we share funny videos through Instagram for sure, but for the most part, it's very, heck, even Instagram is so detached. There's no actual, talking or anything between people.
No. And, never go to the Instagram comments. They're always awful.
No, they can be for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And, we have the advantage because, you're probably closer to Zillennial than a Gen Z.
Right.
And I'm definitely millennial. And we have the one foot in the whole, we touched grass when we were younger.
Yeah, I didn't get my first smartphone until I bought it myself.
Because I'm pretty sure that when you start having kids, you don't want them to be iPad babies.
Yeah.
Because one thing or another, yeah, I grew up a lot on television too.
Yeah.
Like I mean, screen time is screen time, and it's
Screen
like
time is screen time. I watched a lot of Arthur.
and like I've met people who are just like, I don't watch television. It's like, well, you look at a screen of some kind to play World of Warcraft or whatever. So there's...
You may have tricked everyone else, Plankton, but you can't fool me. I listen to public radio.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the concept of screen time is a very important part because I find myself on the screen way too often.
Yeah.
And it is part of my job, too.
Yeah.
So it's just one of the things to really think about.
It is part of our job.
Yeah.
You know, like we're video editors. We make content. Screen time is what we get paid to do.
And this weekend, especially, I also want to mention before we wrap up, is that this week is all graduation.
Yeah.
So Thursday, Willard graduation. I'm going to actually be going out to the Wilma to do the Willard's graduation. So that should be pretty good.
It's at the Wilma?
Yeah, they have a venue over
Willard
there.
at the Wilma.
Yep. I remember I did one over at the recital hall at the University of Montana. So them finding a venue is pretty interesting how they did it compared to how MCPS, which they're doing at the university, pretty much all day on Saturday, they have I don't know if it's like 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and then...
there's a different blocks.
Yeah, it's like 10 a.m., 12, and 2.
Something like that.
And then, it's the 2 hours, and then the ceremony is usually about an hour, and then they usually have to be like, all right, get out, move along, and then it's the next school, and then they rotate it every year. But also, tomorrow, for those of you guys who don't know, is the election day deadline.
That's right.
Yep, so anybody who hasn't voted yet will have tomorrow is the last chance to vote in person, which is usually the point of the election day. But for those of you who have mail-in ballots, you can always drop it off of their Wyoming and Russell intersection location. The Missoula County Elections Office is there. You can drop off your ballot. Even if you got a mail-in ballot, you can go there and drop it off personally. They do not recommend you put it in the mail because it won't get there in time, especially today. Yeah, so just so you guys know, election is tomorrow. Vote for who you want to do. You got 3 different ballots for the primary, which includes Democrat, Republican, and Libertarian. So you can only turn in one of those ballots. And so, so that's also needed to do. And also, one thing that they're really harping on is that you need to have your signature on the white envelope, not the security envelope, the blue one, but you also need to put the year of birth right underneath your signature after you date it.
Yes.
Yep. So just make sure you get all that squared away. And the election office is pretty on top of things. So if you miss write or anything like that, they give you a call, and then you just that's like a double confirmation, and then you can get your vote in where it needs to go.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I needed to say, and we're pretty much wrapped up for MCAT Radio. Do you need last parting words, Neil?
Be kind to yourself.
All right, goodbye. You're listening to 101.5 KFGM.